5 Chief Drone Pilot Ted Pretty capturing this video earlier this evening.
You can see just how much of the complex burned. 2 buildings burnt to the ground as firefighters worked on the flames at 2 other buildings. And firefighters are still dousing the fire with water hoses, attacking the fire from the outside as the buildings are now too unstable.
Fox 5's Kim Passoff is live at the scene tonight with the very latest from the firefighting efforts.
This fire has been burning for about 5.5 hours now. The wind's still a factor tonight, feeding these flames. Let me step out of the way so you can get a better view of what it looks like right now. This all started about 4:30 this afternoon. Witnesses say that they heard loud popping sounds like a car backfiring or someone throwing boards off the roof right when this fire started. A massive inferno, flames towering into the sky, thick black smoke visible across the entire Vegas Valley. Ryan Sotirios lives a block away.
We were alerted from family, and when we came out, it was horrific. Everything was on fire. The flames were as high as this 3-story apartment complex next to us. It was huge. It
appears to have started on the roof or upper floor. This video taken from a neighboring apartment complex at the beginning of the fire.
A fire in this type of building under construction is especially hazardous because it does not have the exterior stucco and gypsum board that a building that's finished would have, so the fire can spread rapidly and in uncontrollable ways.
High winds also helped fan the flames, shutting down part of the 215 as smoke covered the roadway. Firefighters called a second alarm and went into defense mode to protect surrounding buildings to the south and east. Joseph Cervantes is in town for the National Fire Protection Association's annual expo and came from the Strip to see it close up.
As I was walking out in the Mandalay Bay, I just so happened to look off in the distance and see a smoke plume, and then my phone started going crazy and people were sending me videos from taking off from the airport over this incident.
Hours into the fire, this is what it looked like from a drone over the 215, the flames bringing the multi-story building that first caught fire to the ground. More than 75 Clark County firefighters battled the flames and will continue to do so until they are sure it is 100% contained.
We will most likely remain here on scene overnight as we continue to mop up the fire.
And surveying the damage tonight, it appears that a large portion of this building is just gone. There are 2 towers still standing. Those look like elevator shafts, possibly on the ends of the building that survived the fire, likely because they are concrete. Again, no occupants in this building. It was under construction. We do believe that construction workers were there at the time that this fire started, but no injuries have been reported. The cause of this fire still under investigation. Reporting live tonight, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
That is the scene 5.5 hours after the call first came in. And fire crews say the wind did impact that fire, making it spread even quicker.